Welcome to this update episode about the Miss Universe organization. If you've been following the news, JKN Legacy Inc. has traded 50% of the Miss Universe company. It was traded to Legacy Holding Group USA, which is owned by entrepreneur Raul Rocha Cantu. It was traded for over $16 million USD. If we look at it from a business perspective, this sounds like a pretty great deal because it has been reported that Anne purchased the Miss Universe organization in its entirety for $20 million. So trading half of it for $16 million sounds like a pretty good business deal. Since 50% has been traded, some things are going to be changing within the organization. One important thing to note is that JKN Legacy is still going to be in charge of the Miss Universe organization. I feel like that's an important distinction to understand because some people might be wondering, since there is that 50-50 split, does that mean that Anne and Raul will be splitting organizing the Miss Universe pageant? It does not appear that that is going to be what happens. Instead, the Legacy Holding Group, based out of Mexico, will be in charge of operations for North and South America. JKN headquarters in Thailand will be overseeing Asia and all other continents. So of course we're talking Europe, we're talking about Africa, and I would assume islands as well. Not positive. One interesting thing about the release of this news to me, though, was the statement that JKN will still be running the New York headquarters. And my question is, what headquarters? I want to say it's been at least over a year since they got rid of the Miss Universe offices that were in New York. And if you want to see what those were like, you can check out some of my vlogs when I was Miss Montana USA. When I went to New York Fashion Week, I was able to show you the Miss Universe offices and in that vlog. So apparently those offices have been gone for a while now. And what the team in the US has been doing is they've been using a co-working space, to the best of my knowledge, to have meetings and plan for the pageant. As far as I know, that's how things have been operating for a little while now. And so it's interesting that they said that JKN is going to be in charge of the New York headquarters. Because what headquarters? What headquarters? Here's a statement from Rocha Cantu. He said, "I've always thought there was a broader opportunity to bring Miss Universe's massive audience more of what they've been looking for in terms of products and merchandise. It's one of the most famous names in beauty with an iconic legacy of over 7 decades, and we're excited to utilize it to create more opportunities for women around the world. Everything we create will be grounded in the mission to uplift, empower, and inspire women to embrace their truest selves." I'll also mention that he is currently the franchise owner now for Miss Universe Mexico as well, so he'll be in charge of organizing that. Additionally, here's what Anne had to say about Raul. She said, "Raul's entrepreneurial background and impressive business success will allow us to push forward with the pageant product platform Triangle, which I've introduced over the past year. We first met at Miss Universe 2020 in New Orleans, and he has since been integral to several of our launches, including Miss Universe Skincare in 2023. Our collaboration has been a fantastic partnership so far, and I look forward to growing our legacy brand even further in the years ahead." Obviously, there has been a lot going on in the Miss Universe organization, and about 2 months ago, we learned that JKN Global Media was going into bankruptcy, and that Anne had to start selling off assets, as you do when you're experiencing bankruptcy, to start paying for your debts. So I feel like this was quite a strategic move, not just for Miss Universe, but overall for Anne's overarching business here, and I think it made a lot of sense. Now, I feel like myself and many pageant fans and contestants aren't still really sold on this whole idea of, selling half of the organization, just because there's been so much movement in the organization since Donald Trump purchased the other half from NBC and then sold the entire thing to IMG. There's been so many changes, and it's like nobody's really been able to quite catch their breath and figure out what is it exactly that they're doing, what really is the vision. And that's really difficult for pageant contestants when it comes to, should I compete for this organization? And if I choose to compete, how should I be preparing for this competition so that I have the best chance to become their title holder. The other thing that I feel can cause some concern is the idea of this 50-50 ownership, but an unequal division of organizational duties. So clearly Anne is going to have to organize and oversee a lot more countries than Raul would be overseeing. And also, although it's a 50-50% partnership, what does that mean in terms of the vision for the organization? Is it truly going to be 50-50 moving forward in terms of what both of them see the future of the pageant should be? Or is this a case where Anne is going to be always at the top of the totem pole and gets to make really big decisions for the organization, decisions like age limits and things like that that affect contestants? I'm speaking for myself, but many of you may agree that regardless of the changes on the business side of the organization, what we're all concerned about is the experience for the contestants and an entertaining show. So I feel like if that is at least at the center of all of these potential changes, and if that is a foundational part of the vision moving forward for the organization, then we can continue to see positive changes and progress within the organization. So there's kind of a lot to think about here, and I feel like we're going to see a lot more details in the weeks and the months moving forward for the pageant. It's going to be really interesting to see. Obviously, we know that they started rolling things out like cosmetics and a water brand, but I'm so curious about those things because even though they rolled them out, I feel like there was just an announcement and then kind of crickets, versus in the past when Miss Universe had collaborations with beauty brands like Chi, for example, when they had their Miss Universe Chi line. I thought that was a really smart collaboration because Chi already has built up their own name, their own brand, and a level of trust with consumers. So I thought it was so smart to have that partnership versus entering the cosmetics and the beauty world, which is already so competitive, and trying to make a name for yourself there and just building off of the Miss Universe brand. So, you know, when it comes to those things and those choices in business, there's so many sides to it, so many facets to it. And I believe that there are ways to succeed. And it's just a matter of making the right choices for the business in order for it to succeed. So I'm really curious to see what's going to be happening with this pageant, platform, and product triangle. I like the idea of this, but I want to see where it's going to go. So these were my general thoughts, and honestly, I'm overwhelmed by a lot of the changes, but I would love to know what your thoughts were about all of this. Please leave that in the comments below, and let's also be respectful and kind to one another. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I hope that you chose to subscribe and that you'll come back for lots more. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon.